Picking your favorite Bakshi film is extremely difficult, mostly because all of them are so unique from one another. Despite that, the one that always stood out to me was American Pop, which is a fascinating film. It's done mostly in rotoscope, though occasionally goes to still images, live action, and really weird effects, depending on the mood and timing of the scene. It also has a fantastic soundtrack that really drives the stories through its multiple time periods. The plot centers around 5 generations through 8 decades. We start with a family in Russia in the 1890s during a Tsar attack. The father is killed and his wife and son escape to America. When there, the son Zalmy grows up in the burlesque show business, surrounded by singers and performers, but ends up getting involved in the mob. His son Benny grows up wanting to be a jazz performer, but then enlists in World War II. His son Tony grows up sneaking into beatnik clubs, hitchhikes to California, and ends up being a songwriter for a hippie rock band. And finally, his son Pete falls into the dealing business for a punk band, but ends up being their lead singer. Okay, that was just a quick synopsis, but each one of these stories, characters, and settings are extremely powerful and emotion-driven. Also, the involvement of the soundtrack per each era really affects the lives of all of them, as they all yearn for their own personal love for music. This is uniquely and beautifully shown through animation. There's way too many good scenes to mention in this brief review, but some of them that really stand out to me was the Benny Goodman Sing 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 number, that went from jazz performances to World War II battle scenes. Also, the famous Jefferson Airplane song Somebody to Love plays during a rock concert while the music and animation starts to get warped as a character drinks punch that contains a little bit more than just water, sugar, and red dye number 2. Also, its usages of Pat Benatar's Hell is for Children and the Sex Pistols' Pretty Vacant playing during the punk scene, it looks just like something out of an 80s music video. Everything from the vaudeville to the 50s rock and roll scenes is so well done, but the one that is probably the most powerful and surreal scene is a complete rotoscoped recreation of the great Jimi Hendrix performing Purple Haze. This Bakshi vehicle contains a lot less adult material than its X-rated predecessors, but still does not hold back from its dark elements, like the death, war, drugs, and behind closed doors relationships. But all of these are important to the plot, and not just thrown in there to be shocking or controversial. A warning for this film's content is warranted, but not for its adult material, for its emotional effects. It can be extremely depressing at times, but some of the best stories are. And this is 4 of the best stories. This film is a must for anyone who loves Bakshi, anyone who loves music, and anyone who loves surreal animation. It gets 5 ducks. I definitely recommend you check it out.